Sometimes we assume that if we were certain way or behaved in certain way, we would be more likable and people would respond to us in more positive ways. But then once we break free and become ourselves, then we can be surprised how much more likable we are. And people actually like, yeah, thank God. Thank God. You
so true.
drop that mask, or I like this person way much better than, because our assumptions in our head can be totally wrong.
Yes.
And it's very freeing also to be yourself. And it's sometimes wearing masks and taking on personas and different, type of roles, they can really drain you.
Yes, so true.
Right?
And yes, 100%. And, and people are drawn to authenticity. And you might not know why. You might not be like, oh, this person's being authentic. It's just some energetic thing that seems to happen.
And that is alignment, correct?
Yeah.
Nicely said. Let's go back to Gestalt therapy. Gestalt is a German word that means shape, fall. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have a lot of experience with Gestalt therapy. I bought a book about it. I haven't finished it. However, I know that Gestalt therapy focuses rather on the present moments, what you are experiencing in the present, your feelings, how your body responds, rather than what happened in the past.
Yes, and I think there's several definitions for this. I've heard wholeness. I've heard, I have a friend who's German, and she said it's not easily translatable to English, but it's kind of more about like flow and so, but she couldn't put it into English words so easily. But how I've come to understand it, interpret it, and it's not necessarily anything people haven't really heard before, and there's a lot of other similar modalities out there, but the way I come to understand it is healing parts of our past that might be impacting our present. So for example, we may end up in the same repeated relationships, like the same patterns within our relationships. But if we go back to earlier years, like our childhood, we might see, oh, that's why I keep falling into these same patterns or in these same relationships. It's because this happened in my childhood. And so we heal through like experiential work. We heal that past so that now in your present, you can start making different decisions. Like now you're aware of, oh my gosh, here I am making this decision again. Time to make a new decision or a different decision. But it's not necessarily about dwelling in the past. It's just like, let's go clean that up so that we can, be a better version of ourselves now.
So how do you really clean up a traumatic event in the past in your present tense? Because sometimes the effect of a traumatic event can be very deep.
Yeah.
Is it going to be healed with Gestalt therapy for good? Or will it come back and, I use the word hunt, and hunt you again?
Yeah, I think it's different for every individual. And also, a lot of trauma can be layered. But some people, once they have awareness around it and they do a healing piece of work around it, they move forward and evolve. And once you start that process of healing or evolving, like, you can't help but change. Like the things around you can't help but change. But they might turn up again. It doesn't mean the triggers won't turn up again or it won't show up again in your life. But what I've noticed in clients is they start responding differently. So, I don't know. For example, I had an instance in my past where my dad let me down. And so, and in my adult years, I started like flipping out anytime anyone would let me down.
See.
But now I have the awareness that person isn't letting me down. It's how I'm perceiving it. Like something might have come up in their schedule, for example, or they might be going through their own stuff. Or now I have this awareness and I can respond differently, even though it might still trigger me. I might be like, oh, I can't believe that. Like now I have this awareness of, ah, you know, they're their own human. I have my own stuff. Now I can move forward differently. Yeah. And so I don't know if that makes sense, but
Absolutely. It does. It does make sense. So many questions, limited time. I want to just be mindful of that. What does abandoning oneself mean?
hmm. Again, based on my personal experience, I I love so deeply and I connect so deeply with other people um and I also from childhood had this just desire to be acknowledged and appreciated and um and so sometimes if I feel like not so much now but like I'm thinking of when I got married and how I felt seen and for the first time and someone actually wants to spend their life with me and that felt like such a gift. Um, but that meant I would accommodate this person any way I could. Um, where we lived, how we operated our household, how we managed money, what meals we cooked, and slowly and slowly. And I didn't realize it was happening over time. It took a brain tumor named Bubba to kind of help me reflect back on my life and realize, oh my God, where did I go? Like, where did I go? Where did the girl who loves bright colored clothes and going out dancing and listening to music and like, where did she go? And so, again, I just took on roles that made someone else more comfortable. And um, and again, it wasn't necessarily conscious. I think I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. Um, but for me, that's what abandoning myself meant. Just kind of living life. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. You refer to Baba as your inner voice. What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, I didn't really know he was an inner voice right away. It took me. I wrote a book about my story. I wrote a memoir, and as I was writing that memoir, I was like, oh my gosh, he's kind of like this alter ego. Like he has the sense of humor I have. And I call him a he. Someone asked me like, oh, it's interesting. It's he. Well, he's a very masculine side of me, um, and I thought he was just kind of this annoying voice, kind of antagonizing me, but he was really pushing me. It's really like pushing me in the times I needed it, and so I think it unfolded as I started again reflecting back. I'm more of an introvert, so I tend to reflect and look back on things, and that's where that's how I move forward, is by reflecting back. So,
Mhm.
um, and so yeah, so he again, it wasn't something right away. To me, it was just like this silly thing my mentor told me to do, and then eventually it turned into more than that. Like, wait a minute, yeah.
And the role that he had in the past, does he have still the same role in your life, or are you now in control of it? Because let me explain what I mean by that. So when hardship happens in life, some of us become enslaved by, especially when it's like a physical disease or discomfort. We let that discomfort have us instead of us having it. So it will take over our decision making, take over our, basically becomes the captain of our ship.
Mhm.
Um, and once the role shifts and switches, then it can sit back and soften and let us control it rather than it controlling us, right?
Mhm.
Was the
Yes.
same experience for you always?
Um, well, I know he started off as kind of this voice of doubt. And it took a moment, a very specific moment in this journey. It was 6 months post-surgery and radiation treatment, and I was sitting on the couch for another day. And mind you, I was a very active person. I was very busy all the time, liked to be outside, and I couldn't get off the couch. My body was very weak, tired. My brain wasn't operating correctly, and I had this really profound moment on my sofa, and I was like, I cannot sit here another day. Like I can't. I felt like I would die. Like I would just die. I would just disappear. And what I'd realized in that moment is I was so focused on how can I live if I can't ever do another Ironman race? Or, I'm always the sharp, detailed person. I run the show. I was running a big business at the time, and like, who am I? Like I can't do any of these things anymore. In that moment, I realized, well, what can I do? Like that became the big question. And then that's when I opened up to like a different perspective and tilting the lens, and I think Bubba was still kind of this voice of doubt of um like I don't know if you can do this. But again, that voice of doubt was actually pushing me. I was very defiant and rebellious. I was like, I'll show you. and and so it was really that moment on the couch where I decided um to live. And decided to view my new life through a different lens.
Very nice. You went on a 6-week bike tour
Yes.
from Canada to Mexico. Did you go by yourself?
I did not do this ride by myself. I
Okay, so how the whole idea came to mind, what sparked it?
it
This is
was
very
kind
adventurous.
Yes, it was kinda like an F it. I had an F it attitude at that point. I was like, "Here I am sitting on this couch. I need something to live for." And that was kinda when I pulled out my bucket list of all those things. I was like, like, well, I've been waiting to do all these other things. Like, why don't I see what I can still do?" And I knew I could still bike. I would never do another Ironman race, but I knew I could still ride my bike. And one of my bucket list items was uh, riding my bike across country. And so that was the day I decided. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to ride my bike cross country. And I found this incredible route. I was looking at all the different routes because there's several different routes, but I found the one from Canada to Mexico down the Pacific coast. And I was like, that's the one. And I signed up that day, and I had 14 months to figure out how I was going to get there because on that day I couldn't even get off the couch. But
Wow.
gave me something to live for. And I was like, F it. I didn't even ask, like, I didn't know how I was going to get off work. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I'm like, I'm just doing this. I have to do it for me. And, and so that was the start of that journey.
6 weeks of biking.
Yes, 41 days and, I had 3 or 4 rest days in there.
Wow. What did you learn from that experience?
Well, I signed up for what's called a semi-supported tour. So a van transports your gear from campground to campground each day. And to me, I thought, okay, I won't have to worry about my gear. I can just ride, and my gear will be waiting for me on the other end. And but there were 9 other people sharing the van. And so I went in again very closed-minded, let's say. Like,
Okay.
this is my journey. I'm not here to make friends. I need to heal my soul. And what I realized is that people actually want to help and support you, and people are genuine and trustworthy, um, and so, uh, and also another big lesson in letting go, and just allowing the road to take me where it was going to take me. um,
Oh,
so
this is
and
so lovely. We have 3 minutes.
oh, it's a yeah, and I am yeah. Let
This
me
is so lovely. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing your story so generously. What is the road unpaved your memoir?
It is, yes, the
It is your
road,
memoir.
and I think I told you I went on to write the screenplay for it.
You did, yes. I wanted to talk about that in our in the final minutes.
Um,
Um, so the road unpaved won a lot of awards right off the bat after you published it.
yeah, I was
It was just
shocked.
meant to be.
That's yes. I had no
So
idea.
tell me about that a little bit, how it turned into a screenplay and all the good stuff.
Yes, I knew I always so one of my bucket list items was writing a book. And I had tried and start and stop so many times. And but this felt like the time. Like it felt aligned. And so I was in knots putting this book out. I had no it was my guts on the page. I was really afraid to be seen. And so I'm gonna get emotional, but the responses were overwhelming. And I remember um someone telling me, and it was someone I didn't know. It wasn't a friend or family. It was just like a stranger telling me how much they loved my book and all the things they got from it. And I started bawling. Like I just burst into tears. Um and uh and so I had no idea the success it was going to have. And then someone said, this should be a movie. And then another person said, this should be a movie. And then suddenly I started hearing, why isn't this a movie? Oh my God, this would be such a good movie. And who would play you in the movie? And then someone said, you should write the screenplay for it. And I was completely out of my element with that. Oh my gosh.
I
So,
am so happy for
but
you.
I've entered it in a bunch of contests, and it's winning awards like crazy. And again, all unexpected. I never want to write another screenplay again. But it's been a cool thing to be like, wow, I did that. That's,
I believe you. I believe you and I congratulate you because once we stop resisting to what we already know to be our path and actually take action on it, then life doesn't have to force us into it.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm talking about it. I'm talking about in general because that's the lesson that I have personally learned from life. That you know deep inside that you need to do things, certain things, and then you start rationalizing them because it's not aligned with society and culture and, all those things.
Yeah.
So then once you become who you truly are and you let it be, then here you are, you became very popular with your book and then turn into, God knows where it's going to take you next.
Yeah.
Right?
It's way more fun. It's way more fun over here. And I'm a better version of myself. I like me way better now than who I was before.
I really appreciate you sharing your story. I want to be mindful of your time. Thank you so much, Risa. This was wonderful, very, very profound. It was a lovely, lovely conversation.
Thank you, Shada. You are stunning. And I hope your listeners know how talented and how many skills you have as well. You're an incredible, incredible human.
Oh, thank you. Make me blushing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.